Hey there guys, this is BassSinger313 here, and welcome to a brand new episode called BassSinger313. That is a dumb title. For this, anything goes. It doesn't matter what the material is, as long as it's part of my imagination, I will probably make a video out of it. And for this particular video, I recently watched the recap for the Road to Ultimate series that I'm making. That's currently ongoing at the moment, and I had this to say.
I guess I could like rate each stage and tell you guys which one I like. No, I'll do the rating for each stage at the end. Give my final thoughts on each character, I guess. I could have done that on the N64 though. Each character, each stage, give my full review on it.
But I never actually got around to doing so, as my last minute attempt basically, I'm going to be telling you guys what I like and what I dislike and what I thought it was okay for stages from 64 to the Wii U version. And just to cover my bases, I'm also going to be covering the Ultimate stages once that game releases. But without further ado, let's just dive into the 64-bit era.
Peach's Castle has two platforms, a moving platform entering and exiting from left to right on the bottom platform, two slopes that are not walkable, and a bumper on the very top. I think this is a very basic stage that's not too chaotic, but not too basic either. And I think it's a good balance between both competitive and casual play. Of course, more so casual play, the bumper on the top is somewhat annoying, and it kind of sucks when the bottom movable platforms is not on the same side you're recovering, but overall, I like the stage. I think it's a good staple for the Smash Bros. Series. Congo Jungle is a dark sunset with two slanted slopes on top, a bottom platform with slopes connecting to the straight, all the slopes in which you can go through, and lastly a barrel at the bottom that could potentially save you from death or curl you from death. I like this. It's another neutral stage that I don't mind playing. The barrel is a little bit too annoying, so if it was removed, I'd say I would definitely play this stage more often. Hyrule Castle sets the fighters on top of the castle with a tower straight in the middle of the stage and a little hut in the right side of the stage. Sometimes tornadoes can occur, and whenever anyone gets into one, they're curled vertically on top, resulting in death if the damage is severe enough. I'm more neutral on this stage. Nostalgically, I think it's fine. It's a basic looking castle, but in this day and age, the design looks too blocky for me. Peach's Castle in Congo Jungle has the advantage of looking pretty iconic, while Hyrule Castle looks like someone at a beginner's 3D art class made it and slapped a Zelda poster in the background. I also don't like these tornadoes either. As soon as the sliver of pixel shows up, anyone can get in. I wouldn't mind this too much if there was some sort of tell that these tornadoes will come up, and there's a chance that someone will react to it. This is the first stage I honestly don't like, however it's thankfully not the worst one I encountered. Planet Zebes has lava rising from below and several sets of platforms on top of another big platform at the very bottom. For N64 standards, I like this. It definitely looks very well to the Metroid setting if it ever had an N64 game, and the use of lavas makes it very fun for casual play. It's a lot more viable to kill from the side or from above, as they seem to be the only legitimate strategy, and I think this limitation trains the player very well for more strategical actions. It's also a lot of fun to combo the opponents from lava as well. This gets a solid thumbs up for me. Mushroomy Kingdom, our first unlockable stage. This stage consists of a death pit in the middle, 3 walk-offs, a transportable warp pipe, and a weight-like platform where, depending on the character, one can slide off if they are heavy enough. Aesthetically, this feels very in tune to the Mario Bros of the past, harkening back to the original Super Mario Bros back in the NES era. Gameplay-wise, I'm not a huge fan of it. A walk-off is pretty much a ledge in which it's possible to die from just walking off it. Because of how close the blast radius is, it's easy to kill other opponents, and yourself for that matter, and it makes these kills very cheap. And there's 3 of them, 2 in the left and 1 from the right. Vertical kills are non-existent if you're in this corner, so if you're that type of player that likes to deal the most damage, you're most likely going to camp in this area and possibly get cheap kills from that. It's bullshit. Yoshi's Island. This stage was being so close to being another good one. The base stage itself consists of 3 platforms, 2 of which are slanted, a base stage with diagonal dips, and the background looks amazing as it harkens very well to the Yoshi feel. My issue with the stage, and what ultimately ruins it for me, these 2 clouds. What the hell are they doing so far away from the stage? What's the point of these? They're so close to the right side of the blast radius and they disappear if the player stands on it too long. There's none at all on the left side, so why are there 2 in the right side? This is ergonomically incorrect and it ruins what could have been an awesome competitive stage. If I wanted to make it more casual, it would have been better if the clouds don't stray away from the stage too much. Around this area would have been nice, and there should have also been 2 extra on the left side as well. Maybe even replace 1 from the right side and paste them on the left side too. Dreamland, now here we go. So far the only legal stage in competitive Smash Bros. 64. It's simple, but perfect. 3 platforms perfectly align well with 1 on the top and 2 perpendicular towards each other. The base stage is nice as well, being a flat surface. There's only 1 issue I have. The stage is a little bit too big, leaving characters with bad recovery on a disadvantage. But to be fair, it's also relatively big vertically as well, so I think it balances things out with powerhousers getting an advantage. And most of these powerhouses tend to have bad recoveries as well. Wispy Woods also blows wind from time to time, however that doesn't seem to affect too much. This is the perfect definition of my ideal stage for competitive play. Nothing too chaotic at all, it's a true test of skill. Sector Z has the fighters fight on top of the Great Fox, and all I can say is out of all the stages, this has got to be so accurate towards the Star Fox series. See, with the previous stages, it's just a set of platforms with the background of their own series. The Mushroom Kingdom was the closest thing to being represented in the Mario series, but the stage layout doesn't really scream Mushroom Kingdom for me. Sector Z is the best of both worlds. The layout is ergonomically correct, and the hazards are not that intrusive, but still add that blend of chaotic I like in casual play. My only issue is that this stage might be a little too big, but that's really my own opinion. I'm not usually a huge fan of big stages, but I can see some people liking the grand battle taking place in such a broad stage, so I guess in terms of casual play, this has got to be the best stage. Saffron City, another fantastic stage for the Pokemon series. The stage takes place on top of several buildings with random Pokemon spawning in the middle of the stage. I like this in terms of casual play, however my biggest issue is the cramped spaces between the buildings, mostly because Ness gets completely screwed in the stage. His only method of recovering is aiming his up B to himself and ejecting him back to the stage. But his PK Thunder also dissipates in contact with any walls and platforms. I don't think a lot of characters have this issue, but Ness mains better beware of this stage. Before we get into Melee, I'd like to talk about the Metal Cavern stage. Out of all the N64 stages, this has got to be the most underrated one. No one talks about this stage, but it's so good! It has that hint of Smash Bros. Originality, but since you fight Metal Mario, the stage design fits as well as a combination of both a Mario and a Smash Bros. Stage. I wish this was a playable stage in Versus mode. It'll be one of those best neutral stages in the game. Icicle Mountain is a Ice Climber representative stage, and they deserve better. It's an auto-scroller with some passable platforms, and auto-scrollers in general tend to suck a lot in Smash Bros. For me, knowing the stage layout is always nice, but no matter how many times I play the stage, I can never for the life of me get a visual representation since it changes so much. It also doesn't help that the speed and direction of the auto-scrolling are drastically different. 1 minute it's snail's pace, and the next thing you know, you're diarrhea on ice. Yeah, I don't like this stage. Peach's Castle. This time we fight on top of the castle. While it may not look one-to-one to the N64 thanks to the character scaling, I have a blast fighting here. I could see it being cheap at times with Fox's infinite shine and Pikachu's jab attack, so I will dock some points off of that, but casually, it's fine. I don't have much of a problem with it at all. Congo Jungle, a waterfall background with 4 see-through platforms, a base platform that's also see-through from the bottom, and a rock with an occasional log. The barrel is present though, so it's somewhat annoying, and the blast zone is a little too scrunched up, but I think this is a fine stage. Great Bay, a nice looking stage with an awful amount of what color is this? I don't like the color of the ocean that much, but I do like the design. The Great Turtle is present sometimes and disappears other times, however, he has an obvious tell when he's going to sink down and rise up. Tingle is a little annoying, making projectile use a little hard, but overall aesthetically it's faithful towards the Majora's Mask game. I especially like the moon falling down, that too is an extra nice touch. Yoshi's Story, it's pretty much the same layout as Dreamland 64, but with a variety of Shy Guys scrolling around and it can be interacted with. There's also a cloud cycling every 10 to 12 seconds per roundabout, and this makes moments like recovering a one more chance. This is another competitively viable stage, and overall I like it. It's a little too scrunched in terms of space since the blast radius is relatively low leading, but I still like the stage, it has a nice feel. Fountain of Dreams. This has got to be my favorite, both aesthetically, casually, and competitively. It looks so phenomenal, the music is amazing, the stage itself is not too chaotic, it's a test of skill. And while it's weird that Jigglypuff and Pichu's mirror still shows their eyes open, at the time, it's a technical marvel. There's really one issue I have with this game is that whenever there's 4 players on screen, the frame rate decreases. Don't even get me started on 4 Ice Climbers, but on one-on-one melee, this is one of the most perfect stages to fight on. Corneria is basically Sector Z, but scaled down. Now this is how you fix an old stage with only a few flaws to make it even better. There's also a gun section that's also a platform too. This could promote a lot of camping, but thankfully, the gun actually shoots and it's a one-hit KO, so there's some sort of anti-camping mechanic. This is one of the best illegal stages to play on, never change Corneria. Slot Zone, the Mr. Game & Watch representative, and another one I'm not a huge fan of. There are 3 walk-offs, random wrenches, and hammers spawning from the ceiling, and they do an abnormal amount of damage. Not a huge fan of the platforms either. They're too close to the blast radius, in fact. This entire stage is pretty much small, leading to some claustrophobic deaths. I don't like it, but I will give it points for this awesome music track. Venom. It's basically the Great Fox, but it's from its side with walls and slanted go-through platforms. A little bland, but I don't mind fighting here. Green Green's a great addition to the Kirby series. Wispy Woods returns, however, with a more amplified wind. Various of different block falls from the ceiling, one being a normal one and one being a bomb. I like the stage. It gets the feeling of Kirby down properly, with my only downside being how close the blast radius is. Yoshi's Island. I hate this. Interactable platforms in the middle, a walk-up to the right, and close to blast radius to the left. Yeah, no thanks, I'll stick to Yoshi's story. Temple, now this is a behemoth of a stage. It's expansive, it's big, and because of that, there's so many new strategies and fighting styles one can make, including camping. Yeah, this is ultimately the issue with big stages in general. Because of their gigantic size, it promotes a lot of comping, meaning faster players gets a huge advantage. To top it off, the Fight Club, as the community likes to nickname it, is a closed-off area, and it's a joke. It's impossible to die here, leading to more camping. It's fun casually, I will admit, but good god, is it horrible if you aim to win and your main is a Ganondorf. Jungle Japes is a great stage by design, but bad on execution. The layout looks so nice, ergonomically mirrored, completely neutral. Sure, the edges are a little close to the blast radius, but it's not too bad. What is, though, is the water below, and even worse, the claptrap. Go anywhere on the stage below, and you're hurled into the bottom left-hand corner to your death. And these claptraps, they're the worst. They kill you in one hit, and they appear out of nowhere. This was so close to getting my thumbs up, but because of the stage hazards, I hate to say that I have to dislike it. Rainbow Cruise, another auto-scroller stage, however, not as annoying. You fight on a floating boat and it's all fun and competitive, then you have to shift towards these areas with floating auto-scrolling carpets, various of falling platforms, and this swing set, followed by a long hallway and back to the cruise again. At the very least, the auto-scrolling is slow enough so that fighting is not all that bad. If it was just the Rainbow Cruise part, I honestly wouldn't mind the stage too much. Star took what made Planet Zebes great, and that's it. I don't see too much of an improvement, but at the same time, it's nothing too bad. The base stage is relatively neutral, but the acid in the stage tends to be a little finicky. The glory of Planet Zebes is that it punishes bad play for those who are risky in the bottom of the map, and the top of the map is big enough for players to fight against. But here, well, first off, the bottom zone can be death. I don't know how that's determined. But the lava can rise up to the point where 4 players can be scrunched up in this tiny platform. It also makes things too claustrophobic. On the other hand, I do like the neutral stage layout. If there's no lava and the stage itself doesn't have the ability to break apart, it would have been perfect, but overall, I still preferred Planet Zebes. One Net, aesthetically nice as a recreation of the Earthbound series if it was remastered for the GameCube, but because of the 2 walk-offs, I don't like it too much. Next. Oh, here we go, Mute City. This one is pretty fun. This was the first scrolling stage that had a destination for each stop, and this was amazing. I wish these 2 ledges were grabbable though, since there's no ledge on either side. This makes death a lot more common, but overall, not bad at all. Pokemon Stadium is fine. It's a good counterpick stage where the hazards are not too intrusive. There are some glitches that can take place in the stage, so I feel it'll make things somewhat unfair. But other than that, the transformations are not too bad. Maybe except for this Earth stage though. This place just looks all kinds of ugly. Mushroomy Kingdom Melee! Well, you know my opinion on the N64 version, and while this one is slightly better, I'm still not a fan of it. 2 walk-offs, lots of bricks causing camping. I like it aesthetically, but I won't play the stage religiously. Mushroom Kingdom 2, there's 2 walk-offs, wall jump characters get a huge advantage, and Birdo's annoying. Next, Poke Floats. No. just no. There's just too many areas you can camp around. It's another auto-scroller. Also, f*** this Wobbuffet. God damn it, this has got to be one of the least fun stages I've ever played. Anywhere on the ground is death, too many walls and ceilings enclosed, meaning deaths are always either super hard or super easy. The stage is so inconsistent, it's obnoxious. I really hate this stage. Foresight, honestly, this is somewhat of my guilty pleasure. It looks nice and the music is awesome, I'm just not a huge fan of the stage layout. I don't think I mind playing on the stage casually, but there's definitely a lot of issues. Walls leading to infinites, wall jump players have an ease of recovery, and Ness also dies here very easily. I'm gonna sound like a hypocrite here, but I sort of like this stage more for its positive than its negatives. That's why I specifically said this stage was a guilty pleasure. Brinstar Deaths. It's pretty big, the stage rotates clockwise or counterclockwise, and not all ledges are grabbable, making a lot of cheap deaths. Wow, none of the lockup stages are that good. I hate to be disappointed. Aside from the past stages, is there any good unlockable stages at all? Oh yeah, there is! Battlefield! While it appears in the N64 during the fighting polygon battles, Melee was the first one to introduce it as a fightable stage. This stage is amazing. 3 regular see-through platforms that adds a lot of strategy and reflexes towards platforming. The distance between the stage and the blast zones are perfect. It's not too close, but not too far away either, making deaths a lot more fair. I still have issues with the ledge though. If this was bigger, less cheap deaths would occur, but overall, fantastic legal stage for competitive play. Same goes for Final Destination as well, a simple flat plane, making it feel a lot more like a traditional fighting game. Only issue is that for every death, every time you spawn back, it's closer to the left side. I never understood why it's not aligned in the center. But overall, great basic stage. Not gonna go into detail for the past stages, most of the time my opinion still stands as the original incarnation. But Brawl's Battlefield, it fixes one of my issues with Melee's Battlefield. It's a fine stage and I love the overall design. Brawl's Final Destination, it made the Melee version, but Worse, Battlefield Ledge Syndrome is present within Final Destination, making for cheap kills. I do very much like the design though, it feels very grand and amazing. Delfino Plaza, one of the only auto-scrollers done right. The floating stages are great, the plaza itself looks amazing. True, some walk-ups are on the majority of stops, but it's downplayed here, so it's perfectly fine. Luigi's Mansion is awesome, harkens to the scary vibe of the original game. Layout is amazing, graphically great and aesthetically pleasing. There's some ceilings making it difficult to kill, but the stage layout is so perfect in size, and camping is not an issue at all. Mushroomy Kingdom, it's an auto-scroller with walk-offs. Next. Mario Circuit, 4 walk-offs with annoying Shy Guys racing. I hate it. Next. Rumble Falls. Bridge of Eldon. Admittedly, I enjoy this even though there are 2 walk-offs. I'm gonna knock this off to nostalgia blindness as I'm a huge fan of the Zelda series, and at the time, Twilight Princess was my favorite, so I'm glad this was included. Pirate Ship, the design itself is fantastic, the setting looks very nice, whenever the tornado appears it's a great magical adventure. Downside is that the water can get annoying, and when the rock hits the boat it makes the layout more intrusive than anything. Warfare, somewhat of a downgraded Planet Zebes. Lava's now present on the side too, and they're all randomly generated. The fight between getting inside the safe pod is hectic, but not too much of a fan of this stage. I still prefer Planet Zebes. Frigate Orpheon, I take it back. This is my favorite Metroid stage. Fairly neutral stage, and whenever it turns upside down, it's not that big of an issue at all. Setting is dark and menacing, and the majority of the music played is great. Yoshi's Island, it takes Yoshi's story and improves on it on some areas, but also somewhat downgrades it in others. The stage itself is bigger, making deaths a lot less cheap, but the lack of the cloud and replacement for this new fella, not a huge fan. I like it as a redemption if the player is close to death, but the cloud in Yoshi's story is always consistent, making memorization more rewarding. This creature, randomly generated, so it makes some revivals a lot more cheap. Halberd, it's a fine scrolling stage, fairly neutral with both platforms being see-through, and whenever it stops to the halberd itself, the stage hazards are not that bad at all. Lilac Cruise, fairly a basic stage, but the tilting can get really annoying. Pokemon Stadium 2, basically Pokemon Stadium 1, except worse. The new elemental layouts are not fun at all. The air stage makes more cheap deaths, and the conveyor belt is a huge disadvantage towards slower players. I don't like it. Spear Pillar, oh god, no thank you. The Palkia stage hazards are horrible. The darkness, the mirror, you're fighting against the stage itself rather than your opponent, and I don't like it. Also, their ceiling, making deaths too hard. Port Town Aero Dive, basically Mute City, but better. The ledges are now grabbable, and the variety of stops are a lot more competitive. Castle Siege, a great Fire Emblem stage that descends 3 separate times. Not a huge fan of the Black Knight stage, but the first Castle stage and the Hell stage are fun to fight on. WarioWare, this is amazing. Various minigames played while fighting your opponent, and all of them are great. Except for this don't move minigame. Tell me guys, why would you stop fighting for this minigame? Just kill them while they're not moving and they'll still feel the challenge. Distant Planet, great stage aesthetically, not a huge fan of the waterfall, walk-offs, and this cheap little Smashville, it's basic enough. Great for competitive play, but I'm not a huge fan of Animal Crossing, so the music is not really up to my alley. Newport City, oh man, no thank you. This stage is way too big, so many enclosed areas, and this Chimera enemy is a one-hit KO. Easily the worst Earthbound stage. Summit, basically a better Ice Climber stage, but still not too much of a fan of it. There's some closed off areas, floating moments when the summit crumbles, and the fish is very annoying. Skyworld, there's too many enclosed areas with breakable platforms. I don't like the stage too much. 75 meters. Mario Bros. What the hell did you expect? Flat Zone 2, still not any better. Game & Watch stages just don't do it for me, I guess. Can't say which one is better or worse. I kinda think they're equally as bad with their own cheap kills. Flat Zone 2's music is just a set of beeps and boops. I definitely prefer Flat Zone 1's funky groove instead. Picto Chat, this one I like. Stage hazards are a little cumbersome, but the layout of the stage is very reminiscent towards the DS era, and the stage hazards themselves are not as big of a deal. Annenbow, nope. Shadow Moses Island, very faithful towards the Metal Gear Solid version. Love the Metal Gears in the background, even though I kinda wish they'd do something on the stage rather than just stay there as background decoration. Kinda feel dirty using this as an example, but PlayStation All-Stars has a good example of how Metal Gears can be handled. 4 walk-offs, which can be annoying, but nostalgia blindness tells me to like the stage. Green Hill Zone, great stage layout, harkens to Sonic the Hedgehog back in the Genesis and remaking it for the Wii generation. It looks great! 2 walk-offs kinda make it annoying, and I'm not a huge fan of these checkpoints that are interactable, and furthermore, this stage tends to break down as well. Great for the reference, but annoying whenever combat is involved. But I'll still give this stage a thumbs up overall, as the positives outweigh the negatives. 3D Land, nope. Golden Plains, double nope. Rainbow Road, okay, this one is great. Lovely spectacles, stage layout is so similar towards Mute City and Port Town Aero Dive, but with even better stage layouts, this one easily gets a thumbs up. Paper Mario is a great representation of the Paper Mario series, if only they'd put that much effort into the recent games as well. Hyrule Valley has 2 walk-offs and a small pit dab in the middle, but it's also very iconic looking for the Zelda series. I'm somewhat indifferent with this one, so I'm gonna stick in the middle. Spirit Tracks, great representation for the more cartoony Zelda games. Not too much fun in actuality. Too many ceilings, stage breaks off, and one-hit KOs if you're off the steam train. Game Boy! Similar to Flat Zone, I don't like it, and I think this is easily the worst example of both flat physics and auto-scrolling. Even worse because of how cramped the stage is, it's too tiny. Unova Pokemon League, somewhat indifferent. Nice base stage, but the stage hazards are too much, making it not a worthwhile battle. Prism Tower, fantastic scrolling stage with several stops, and the setting of the X and Y universe looks so great as ever. Newport City 3, basically the floor is essentially lava, similar to Norfair and Brinstar. Probably the best version compared to Big Blue and Spirit Tracks, but still not a huge fan. Magikant. This looks amazing. Nostalgia blindness aside, amazing retrospective towards the Earthbound Magikant, even if it technically originated in Mother 1. But man, I just love the look of the stage so much, it easily gets a thumbs up. Marina Ferrox, basically Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2 combined, and essentially I am somewhat stuck in the middle between the two. Not as great as Pokemon Stadium 1, but at the very least not as bad as Pokemon Stadium 2. Reset Bomb Factory, too big, walk-offs, and a rand of crevices in the center. Next, Vortimer's Island. Not as bad in terms of walk-offs, definitely the most casual-friendly Animal Crossing stage that's nothing too chaotic. I like it, it's not as bad as a lot of people may think it is. Balloon Fight, really annoying, nowhere to kill aside from above and below, and that damn fish is goddamn back, goddammit. Living Room, more walk-offs, and the random blocks appear out of nowhere, making it annoying. The layout is also randomly generated as well, I hate it. Find Me, here we go, this one is great. Never played the game at all, but a fun looking stage with an amazing layout. I don't like the boss battle too much though, he gets in the way a little too much. Tomodachi Island, nice looking stage, pretty basic in terms of feel and layout. Icicle Chat 2, not as good as the first one, but not bad at all. Pac-Maze, very underrated, great looking stage, very neutral and very nostalgic towards the first Pac-Man game. Mushroomy Kingdom 2, nothing too chaotic except for maybe Nabbit, but I kinda like it. Mario Galaxy, great looking stage, but I don't like the 2 walk-offs. Mario Circuit, definitely the worst in terms of scrolling stages with stops. Some of the layouts when stopping gets a little too hazardous, and the cheap deaths all around when landing on certain walls and ceilings make it very annoying to fight in. Jungle Hijinks, very creative. Love the fact that there's a foreground and a background fight, so whenever there's multiple battles or team battles, it's easy to focus on one fight. I somewhat dislike the fact that some of the stages can fall apart, but overall, I really like this one. Skyloft, it's decent enough, another scrolling stage with stops along the way, but the layout for certain stops tend to get a little campy heavy. Pyrosphere, everything about this stage is amazing, except for Ridley. He's more of a stage hazard than anything. This would have been so perfect as a legal stage if Ridley wasn't a boss battle in this game. Woolly World, an amazing good feeling, not so great for one-on-one fights and some walk-offs along the way. I do like the aesthetic though. The Great Cave Offensive, I see the offensive part, but where's the great? Yeah, I don't like this one, it's way too big. Orbital Gate Assault, too many stage hazards to count, layout is constantly changing from big stage to small stage, and it's cramped, I don't like it. Kalos Pokemon League, great default layout, but the stage hazards feel a little too cumbersome to fight on. Coliseum, there are walk-offs and it's way too big. Flat Zone X, take Flat Zone 1 and Flat Zone 2, and you get Flat Zone X. And if you think that the fact that I already don't like both these stages, what makes you think I'm gonna like this one? Palutina's Temple, aside from the nifty codec conversations, this stage is way too big. Gamer, this stage feels inconsistent. The layout is always changing every time the match starts, and there's no way to pick a specific one without praying for luck. I like the stage hazards though, so casually it's nice, but still not a big fan of this WarioWare stage. I think it's probably the worst one for me. Garden of Hope, a little too big for me personally. Nice looking stage with minimal stage hazards, but if it shrunk a little, I would probably approve it. Town & City, it's the same as Smashville. Good neutral stage, but come on, it's Smashville with just extra platforms, that's it. Wii Fit, nice looking stage, but it's too big with 2 walk-offs. Boxing Ring, same story with Wii Fit. War Plains, amazing looking stage, but it's way too big for my taste. Metal Face is also an annoying boss to fight too. Duck Hunt, fairly basic stage, though some of the ducks can be annoying for projectile use, and this tree can lead to some camping issues. But these issues are pretty minimal, I like the stage. Wrecking Crew, easy to kill vertically, and the barrels are annoying whenever they drop on you. Pilot Wings, similar to Venom, but a great looking spectacle. Not too many stage hazards overall, so I kinda like it. Woohoo Island, pretty much the same as Pilot Wings, however there are some extra stops. Some of these range from decent to annoying, but I think it's fun to fight here overall, even if it looks too similar to Pilot Wings. Dr. Wally's Castle, amazing looking baccround scenery, and the stage layout is so good. Yellow Devil kinda ruins it though. Windy Hill Zone, bouncers are annoying and it feels way too big. Pac-Land, auto-scroller with annoying stage hazards. Hyrule Castle, annoying walk-offs and a little too big, but as a Street Fighter representative, it looks amazing. Miiverse, it's basically Battlefield, except more Rule 34. Super Mario Maker is somewhat inconsistent with the layout, it being there's way too much, and it's the same feeling I get whenever I play on Gamer. It's randomly generated, but I do like the fact that it changes from game to game. It feels very good for any Super Mario Maker fans. Midgar, at first it may look like a basic Battlefield, but the summons there lay out the stage very differently. I don't have too many issues with the stage. It's chaotic enough that it doesn't really irritate me at all, and I just wish there's more than just 2 songs in the stage. Umbra Clock Tower looks very good. The falling platforms are not too cumbersome, and while there's a moment where camping is somewhat encouraged with the bottom platform, I don't think it's that big of a deal.
And that's going to be it for the ranking system. I do apologize if most of my reasoning seems repetitive, but most of the stages do have some of the same issues that I have, either personally or just objectively in terms of competitive or casual play. Leave your thoughts down below what you guys think about my opinion, and as always, thanks for watching.